Welcome to Marvel with Metatron. I am your Cychadelic Cychopomp, Clarence, Calloway, and you are tapping into the root of the CymaTree so you can tune in to the mind of Mercury and learn about the messengers of Mercury and learn how the Masons have created Marvel and created money and created Mono-Theistic religion, have stolen all the teachings from Hermeticism and Zoroastrianism so that they can make the secret societies that allow them to cannibalize indigenous peoples and profit from spreading systems that actively encourage slavery. Okay, so this is us decolonizing what it actually means to be a superhero. A lot of people's idea of what it means to be a superhero is completely blinded by how they view Jesus. And if you check out Chase Your Genes, you're going to quickly see that historically, Jesus was created as an idea so that you would be encouraged to sacrifice your individual sun, your individual solar plexus, your individual star, the expression of your space, because that's what it means to be the Son of God. You as God are the space. The Son of God is the structure. Okay, so they stole all this from Zoroastrianism. This is why historically you can see all the basic facts. There's just infinite facts on how Zoroastrianism predates Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And Zoroaster is actually the sorcerer supreme magician that set up the simulation by creating astrology. So this is now where we get the energy of astrology being used to spell out your life. Now, all because of Zoroaster, all right, the Taurus, the toroid, that's why you're going to see him with the bull all over the internet when you look at pictures of him and everything. The energy of Zoroaster is a Taurus. That's what it means to be a Mason. All right, Taurus, born in May. So Masons literally worship Zoroaster so hard. They made up Jesus so that they could be seen as the Masons. And now they want you to marvel at how they cannibalize all of Mercury's creations and turn it into something that teaches you to fight yourself. I don't want you to fight yourself. The moment you start fighting yourself, you bring that fight to other people. And then the universe is just chaotic. I love a peaceful universe. I love a balanced and fair universe. That's the whole point of Mercury. That's why Chase gets called away into simulations like this. So we are decolonizing these Masonic lies, and I figure we will start with Zoroaster. All right, from Earth 616. And of course, by the bristling beard of Odin, hilarious. So Odin and Zoroaster, same exact space. The same exact space that built Mercury, just at two different points in time. This was all widely known in Egypt and throughout the ancient indigenous world based on the Library of Alexandria and all these other libraries that are interconnected. And really, the internet that inspired Masons to build this internet right now. Mercury built that. That's why they're calling their new version of the internet the Metaverse. Metatron, Odin, and Zoroaster. All the same space at different points in time. So they've stolen all this and they're using it to just sell you the idea of what it means to be a superhero. But they've colonized your idea of what it means to be a superhero by selling you the idea then overall, based in Yahweh, that Jesus is the one true Son of God. And because he sacrificed himself to this government that's killing indigenous people and taking over the world and making this JU world order, you need to do the same because you are lower than him. Even though he objectively told you could do greater things than him because they're weaponizing Zoroastrian teachings, they show you that he sacrificed himself to the government so that you can basically, I guess, so you don't have to fast. Because as someone who's been fasting for years, all right, like I've gone through so much with people, specifically people who are Christians, people who claim to worship Jesus, who don't support me fasting. And it baffles me. It baffles me that I could fast for 24 days straight and talk to so many Christians who call me demonic and say that I'm fucked up, say that I'm evil, say that I'm on wrong shit. When I'm talking to spirits, they say that I'm the demon because I need to be possessed by Jesus. If I'm not possessed by Jesus specifically, then I'm a demon. All right? I'm a demon. I'm a demon. And they're going to use me to build their structure. This is how they demonize indigenous peoples and weaponize Earth. So really, a demon is just a spirit that clings to Earth. And the fact is, anyone who's calling you a demon in that way, I mean, yeah, you probably are a demon, but maybe you're not. The point is, you have to practice discernment. All right? You have to use your consciousness to know, am I a demon or not? A demon is simply this: a space that's clinging to light so hard that it's becoming too rigid. Okay, and it's not willing to go with the flow, let's say. So we're all demonic, all right? At a base level, for us to have these bodies like this, we're all demonic. So that's what the Bible means. Again, stolen from Zoroastrianism, all right? That's what the Bible means when they're talking about being of sin. It means that because everyone as a child of God is innately not of sin in your mind. But the moment your mind chooses to create a body that it's clinging to, this is where you become of sin. Because now you're apt to all the body desires. You're apt to the compulsive being pulled this way and that, and just being of sin because you've descended. And now you're inside of a simulation sinning with other minds through the body. So now all of our minds, okay, all of our individual consciousness have our individual bodies, and then we're all sinning together. So that's all of life. That's what the Bible's talking about. That's basic spiritual warfare, basic Zoroastrianism right there. So the point of Marvel is that these Masons stole all of these teachings and are weaponizing them against you. So they want to teach you not that you're an individual God, but that their idea of God, their individual God, created everything that they've stolen from the ancient cultures that came way before them, and that they're still trying to figure out the architecture of, and still trying to figure out the technology of. Like, they're going to say that the pyramid was built with slaves. And it's just so wild that... So this is insane. Here's an insane contradiction that Jews have made up. Jews claim that the Egyptian pyramids were built by Jewish slaves. If the pyramids were built by Jewish slaves, then why would you put the Egyptian pyramid on the back of your dollar bill that you're using to conquer all of North, South, and Central America and bring slavery there? We need to look at that a little more closely. Because I'm pretty sure if you actually went through slavery building those pyramids, you wouldn't want to immortalize it on the money that you're then using to actually enslave all the indigenous peoples throughout North, South, and Central America and the entire world, but the Americas. So that's a really fucked up contradiction. That's really messed up. That's horrible. That's atrocious. And this is the mind frame that has built Marvel. Okay, so we're here to dissect all the lies because they've stolen the truths from these libraries and are using the truths that were already so relatable that they built the reality that they want to cannibalize and consume. All right, they've stolen these truths so that they can sell you lies. And the lie is that one God created everything you can see. That's them lying. But they want to believe that, and they want you to believe that, so they're going to use money to manipulate your muscles. They're going to use money to manipulate your mind. So now you can only communicate based on what they want you to do because they're using money to convince you to manifest their world. So now you're going to keep supporting the erasure of indigenous individuals and the genocide of Native Americans, the genocide of people who are not on their New World Order, all because you're scared to be a victim of jail, to be a victim of their prison. They're using fear. They're weaponizing so much emotional manipulation against you so that they can make money matter. That's why they force me and everyone I know, all of us, to sit through school. Sit through school our whole lives. We did not have options growing up as kids, whether we could go to school or not. It's all about how we were taught that we need money in a land where they made up the idea of money so that they could steal all the resources from indigenous peoples who were actively helping them for free. This is how evil they are. Okay, so this is how objectively evil the Masons who have created Marvel are. The people who have made up monotheistic religion are. So when we look historically at Zoroastrianism, they're going to say that they got their whole idea of monotheism from Zoroastrianism, which they did. But then they're going to say that Zoroastrianism is a monotheistic religion, when it's not. It's a polytheistic religion, and all the ancient indigenous religions are polytheistic. because the whole point is we're all individual gods. That's what it means to be indigenous. It's only this European Masonic mindset that wants to claim that we are all created by one man that we're unaware of. So we're all part of a family that we're unaware of. Do you literally, like, that's literally the Illuminati. Like, that's literally them projecting their desire onto everyone. You're all a part of a family that you're not aware of. And you all support cannibalism. That's why you eat the body of Christ and eat the blood of Christ for salvation. Eat the body of Christ, drink the blood of Christ, whatever. The point is, you're consuming flesh. And they're teaching you that your way to salvation and your way to heaven is to consume the flesh of the children of God. It's pretty messed up. It's really disgusting. See how I just cleaned it out? Like, these are the ultimate supervillains, is how they weaponize the energy of superheroes to teach you that you're not good enough to save yourself from whatever you feel like are your sins. Like, you don't have to feel like you have sins, but if you feel like you have sins, then maybe you did a bunch of messed up stuff in past lives. But the fact that this religion also teaches you that you've never lived before, they don't give you the opportunity to be able to process what you've gone through in past lives. It's so evil. They literally are creating mental health problems, real life. They're creating emotional health problems in real life. They're creating cancer in real life. They're creating all of these problems for humans to suffer from in real life by actively forcing these religions into all the lands that they want to conquer with money, with all these ideas that they've stolen from Metatron. It's messed up. So this is why Zoroaster is considered a supreme sorcerer of the universe, because he, as Mercury, is called away to set up astrology. And astrology allows you to spell your life out into existence. Okay, so spelling is always you writing your life into existence. That's what it means to do spells, to do magic. Everything's magical in that way. So when you're aware of your astrological chart, you're aware of how your alignments line up with the simulation that you're in, you're able to work with the energies of your atmosphere in a way more conscious way than Masons want you to know, than the people who make Christianity, Judaism, and Islam want you to know. They want you to worship their holidays because they're literally weaponizing this astrology against you. That's why they're teaching you that you're a part of a family that you're not even aware of. They have to teach you who your father is. They have to teach you who your daddy is. They have to project into you your daddy constantly, and that you're a child of God, but you're also not a real child of God. You need to worship the real child of God. But don't worry, because worshiping him connects you to your daddy. But we're going to teach you about your daddy, and we're going to make a lot of money along the way. They're insane. But look, this is a setup. All right, they're evil. This is how evil navigates. Evil has to steal what was already working so that it can trap you inside of its new idea of how it wants life to look. So this is why evil is always needing to enslave other spirits, because an evil individual is simply a spirit who doesn't like to be alone with itself. A good spirit loves to be alone with itself. That's the idea of actually fasting, like Clarence Calloway, or like Jesus, or like Zoroaster, or like Hermes, or like Tehuti, or like Odin, or like Quetzalcoatl, or like any of the messengers of Mercury. The idea of fasting is to love being alone in your space. So you're not constantly going out of your space to bring more things into your space and try to like rub up on things and feel good. You feel good observing, and from there being God. This is how Enoch transformed into Metatron. He fasted so long, he transformed, raised his vibration into the highest frequency possible, and brought his body back to Mercury, where we now have all that information for me and my Atlantean family to sift through, hold on to, and continue to expand the metaverse. I was going to say the universe, but you know, metaverse, I guess. But I like to focus on the universe, okay? The metaverse is just the basic concept of how Mercury is called away into all universes to set up astrology when they're ready. So if this universe becomes ready to set up astrology and set up a system that can conduct business, again, Zoroaster stuff, Taurus energy, that earth energy. Once this universe is ready, they call me away from Atlantis, from Mercury, and then me and my family, we set things up, and that's how we get things popping, and we start to build a network. Okay, so these colonizers don't know the world that they're in. They're literally just eating things and lying about it because that's the most power they can have. And then they're weaponizing all these truths that they've stolen because that's the only power that they can have. And it takes all of us being able to more consciously communicate, aka be all of our own superheroes, to save ourselves from this circumstance, because they've taught us to wait and wait for this ultimate superhero that they made up to save us from the problems that they're creating to make money off of how they can enslave us inside of the Matrix. The only option is to save yourself. Like, it's either that, you know, like, people are subconsciously in, oh, I need to sacrifice myself to be a slave to someone who's teaching me to hate myself so that they can cannibalize my body. Or I can fast and be like Enoch and love myself and actually ascend into heaven. I don't have to die. How come I, as Chase Clarence Calloway, wasn't taught as Enoch at all growing up? All of my time in church, I spent so much time in church. I read so many Bibles, guys. I read so many Bibles, you don't even know. I spent so much time in church growing up. They never once mentioned Enoch. They never once mentioned the one person in the Bible who did not die. And he literally transcended into heaven and became God's divine angel Metatron. So that's just them weaponizing, okay, Zoroaster, later being Enoch, and then ascending as Metatron, because it's just more of me as a space, first observing my imagination, projecting how I want to make this imagination real into a universe, and then connecting with that in a way that my soul allows my mind to create a body, which then transforms. And now this body, because it's constantly transforming, I can create things that express my imagination. This is how we're constantly creating life right now. You're doing the same exact thing that I am. It's just that we're all doing this at different awarenesses, right? So the moment you start imagining something different than you're imagining right now, that affects how you feel. The moment you feel differently, you're going to start communicating differently. The moment you start communicating differently, your body's going to go somewhere different than it was before. This is how you start to travel. But the fact is, you are doing this mentally to even build the body that you can manipulate right now. Okay, so that's magic. Like right now, me being able to use my mind to activate my nerves so that these muscles and bones fire, that's magical. Like, this is hermetic communication right here, okay? So it's really important that you know that you are a superhero, okay? If you feel like you need to be saved, then this is where you want to connect with your space, because your space is your individual God. Other people are trying to colonize your space. This reality is using my creations to colonize me, and my space is colonizing everything. They want to make you believe that you are the light so that they can teach you what the light is, and they can teach you that you're not good enough. And because you believe that you're light, you're always going to feel lesser than, because space never feels less than. When you know that you're a space, you know that you're infinite. So all light is meant to limit you. All light is something that is created to anchor your limitlessness. And that's the only way that your infinite space will be able to relate with another infinite space. So our spaces are separate. That's why we have different imaginations and we feel differently about our imaginations. That's why we have different souls. So that fire and water, that's separate. But then we get to choose to connect our fire and water based on us using our minds to communicate through a body. That's where we get air and earth being the external elements. Okay, air is simply water playing out, and then earth is that water stabilizing and being practical. And now the fire is really your imagination and how you intend to use the earth that your air can communicate through to transform through reality. And then this is how we're constantly creating. We're constantly having sex. All my cells are having sex right now to create this body that allows me to burp. It's pretty nice. I love my cells. My sexual soul is doing all this subconscious connections that are allowing my heart to beat, allowing my muscles to expand, and allowing my lungs to breathe without me having to consciously think about it, right? Like, that's all soul magic right there. You breathing without consciously thinking about it, especially when you remove your mind from your body, when you take your Merkaba from your vessel and travel to another space, you being able to breathe is physical proof that your space has a soul that is giving life to any structure that is allowing your mind to experience another space. Okay, I'm literally giving you the exact alchemy of how life works right now. Okay, in elements. So this is how you're able to move your body and live. If you want to get way deeper on this, then of course join Creative Calisthenics, all right? Because that's our fitness course in chaseyourgenius.com, where we actually get into so many intricacies, so many Virgo details, bro, so many Virgo details on how your health is connected to elements and how you manipulate yourself to create muscles that allow you to make your mind matter. So let's check this out. Zoroaster history. Hyborian Age. Zoroaster, or Zoroaster, as he was known during the Hyborian Age, was an ancient sorcerer said to be older than time itself. Okay, so right there, we can see that space, the observer, is older than time itself, because time is simply how this space documents the way it connects with itself and connects the way it connects with itself with others. So this is why your sense of time is not my sense of time. We all have our own individual sense of time based on how old our souls are, basically. So you can think of that like the rings in a tree, you know? So the bigger a tree is, the more rings it has. That's like a tree is an older soul. So it's made more connections. It's connected with more space. Thus it's built more structures that can sustain how it connects with other spaces. That's the idea of the symmetry. That's how Mercury works. So these colonizers ain't shit. All right. Again, Quetzalcoatl set up America so that these Masons would expose how cannibalistic and violently evil their religion is. And we're all learning. Like it's all just about us as individuals learning that we are all individually creating life together. There's not one person outside of yourself that's responsible for you. It's that we're all co-creating life. And yeah, there is a hierarchy based on who we've given power to in the matrix simulation structure that we're upholding. But again, the point is when you're connected with yourself, then no hierarchy or system can hold you back. And that's what it really means to be a spiritual superhero. That's why Jesus fasted 40 days to go connect with himself. That's why Chase fasted 24 days to go connect with himself. That's why Zarathustra fasts for however long he fasts. Enoch fasts for years, all so that Mercury can connect with himself. So your soul is time. And the fact that you can always observe your soul means that you as a space are older than your time. But this is where, if you can see that there are spirits that are older than you, then boom, that's where you start to get the spiritual race or spiritual evolution, or the idea of spiritual ages. Literally, everything is ages. So, there we are. Time. It's the soul. Due to his great wisdom, he was chosen to be the keeper of the crown of wisdom, one of the fabled cornerstones of creation. Cool. He sought to use the crown for good, an effort which broke his mind. Ooh. Yeah, these Masons are hilarious. They're just like, again, these are all ideas that they stole from the libraries that they burned down from indigenous individuals, indigenous cultures, specifically Egypt. And they're weaponizing it to make money and teach you how to fight yourself. And they just want to like use their imagination to act like, oh, we're the one true God. So they're going to steal all these ideas that are literally the ideas that built the world that they barely understand. They're just eating it and lying about the history and everything because they are on an ego trip of wanting to seem like the best. They're going to use all these ideas to sell you their concept of how one man created and owns everyone in existence. And that man is supposed to be named Yahweh. At least during the age of Conan, he resided in a mosque filled with books in the nation of Iranistan. While on a quest to claim the cornerstones, Conan of Samaria and Princess Noyo came to Zoroaster's mosque to acquire the crown of wisdom. Noyo challenged Zoroaster to a board game, with the winner getting the crown. After several hours, Zoroaster won the game and claimed possession of the crown for himself. In retaliation, Conan set fire to Zoroaster's library. Zoroaster desperately tried to save his books while Conan grabbed the crown and attempted to flee. Unable to prevent the destruction of his books, Zoroaster declared Conan and Noyo to be evil, dishonest liars. Yeah, I mean, that sounds pretty infuriating. Have your books destroyed, all his spells, and all of his writing. Yo, that's horrible. I mean, yeah, they're literally just pinpointing this Mercury energy. Mercury is hella libraries, a lot of information. To be an investigative reporter and lose all of your information, fuck that. You just lost so much physical structure, manifestation of your soul. Like, you can't get that information back. My mom, like, I just went back home after being out here in LA for over a year. I came out to LA with a bag. I didn't tell her I was leaving home permanently at all. But for some reason, she decided to throw out like half of my stuff without telling me, and then acted like she didn't when I came home. And it was all up to me to figure out that a lot of my stuff was gone. And that hurt. That hurt a lot, because I went back intentionally for things that she had thrown out. But then she was acting like she didn't throw them out. But then it's just, she doesn't remember. But she didn't talk to me about how she was throwing things out. But she kept telling me she didn't throw anything out. But then she had to admit that she did, and that she threw a lot of things out. She threw out like hella shoes. Like, literally, I have like now one pair of a few shoes. And I know when I came to LA, I had 2 pairs of those shoes. Literally, I was working on costume shoes. I was working really hard on them. I only have one of them now. And she's trying to act like she didn't throw anything out, but she did, obviously. So that was just a whole thing to work through that, yeah, that hurts. That's all time and energy in my life that I can't get back. And now I have memories of working on all these structures. My Moon Knight cloak, I literally can't do the things I wanted to do with my Moon Knight costume anymore. Because not only do I not have that cloak, which I worked really hard and long on, I can't even buy the fabric anymore. It's discontinued. So I had very special fabric that I based the costume on. This fabric was perfect. And my mom threw it out and was acting like she didn't. She was like, oh, I kept everything important. I was just cleaning out your room. She threw out so much of my clothes. So, yeah. I don't think she's evil, but I fucking hate that shit. I hate that circumstance beyond my very core. So I feel you, Zoroaster. That's right. Conan and Noyo are evil. Fuck him. What'd he do? He magically caused the door to his moths to vanish, trapping them inside. Yeah, you know? Zoroaster himself then vanished. What happened to Zoroaster between then and the end of the Hyborian Age is unknown, but Zoroaster presumably recovered and became active in Persia. Cool. Zoroastrianism. He founded Zoroastrianism, which was, according to Yahweh, a practical joke on Zoroaster himself. So historically, in real life, literally in real life, alright, in the real world, we can see that Zoroastrianism set up the astrology that Christianity, Judaism, and Islam are weaponizing to make you a slave. Zoroaster literally set up the astrological system that Masons are weaponizing to take over the entire world today. Yet, in Marvel Comics, they're going to claim that the system that they stole all of their spiritual ideas from was somehow a joke. See, these are literally the minds of Jesuits who just want to appear superior than all the indigenous peoples that they're violently raping, stealing from, colonizing, enslaving, and overall decimating because the indigenous peoples let them. Look, we left things here. Like, we're on to other simulations. So the only reason these colonizers stole all this information is because we as spaces, as spirits, moved on. So we're just coming back because great power is great responsibility. And we all have a responsibility to reconnect with ourselves and take responsibility, no better word, for the things that we've done in the past. That's why what you're seeing me do here, everything is CymaTree, is taking responsibility for my past so that these colonizers can't weaponize my ideas to enslave you. It's not going to be possible if I don't give my perspective, because no one else is these spaces that they're stealing from. No one else is a space that built Mercury. No one else is here building Mercury. No one else has ever been here building Mercury. Alright, it's always been me as a space taking many forms. My imagination looks infinite. I just correlate it to my structure. And yeah, shout out Atlantis. Alright, I got my dog, I got my family. Okay, so spirits hold me accountable. and we literally get it popping. That's how we build astrology. So the fact that these Jews are weaponizing astrology against you while saying that the person that they stole astrology from was somehow created by the god that they made up after the fact, literally just shows us that this is their imagination. And it's like, we can see why they're constantly full of contradictions. They literally want to steal everything from history that they barely understand and say that they're better than the people that they're worshiping. How can you somehow believe that you're better than the people that you're actively worshiping behind closed doors? Because they're actively worshiping Zoroaster and Hermes and Tehuti and Quetzalcoatl and Odin and these gods behind closed doors. That's why they hold them in such high regard and are using them to make money, because they're actively worshiping the ancient world behind closed doors. That's why they support cannibalism, because they feel like if they cannibalize the creations of ancient indigenous individuals, then they can gain their power. These are the people that made Marvel and the people that made the Bible. So of course they're going to say that Yahweh, who was an idea created after Zoroaster, somehow created him, and Zoroaster played a joke on himself with Zoroastrianism. The Bible was literally only created from Zoroastrianism, so they make no sense. And they don't even teach you anything. You see how much I taught you at the beginning of this video that you're not going to get from any of their churches? Let alone what you get when you look at chaseyourgenes.com, okay? It's ridiculous. They're so cap. They're so cap. Zoroaster saw the world as a cosmic struggle between truth and lie. All right, hey, you know, that's true, and it's true. Because here they are weaponizing the truth. It's about the universe being a constant struggle between fire and water. So now the universe is air, and the air plays out through bodies. So that looks like all of our minds playing out through the body right now. And every universe is an atmosphere where all of our minds are playing out through these physical bodies. Our air is playing out through earth based on how our fire and water are fighting, based on how our thoughts and feelings are clashing, right? So this is where if you're fighting someone externally, chances are you're fighting yourself internally before that event. And this is why Marvel makes so much money teaching us how to fight ourselves, because these Martian, Masonic, Jesuit, Illuminati industries, whatever, all right, all these corporations, they make a lot of money the more we go to war. As you can see, America makes all of its money off of war, and they use lies to make war possible. So, boom, like that's literally like the basis of religion for the Catholic Church, and why they stole everything from Egypt, and why they put "In God We Trust" on the back of the dollar bill with an Egyptian pyramid. So they're going to say "In God We Trust" with the Egyptian pyramid, while saying that Egypt isn't shit and they're better than Egypt. But they can't understand how the pyramids were built, and they can't build anything like them. Stupid. A few arcane and mystic documents are tied to Zoroaster, either written by him or some other relation. According to the Logomancer of Atlantis, see, there they are, Atlantis. The oracles of Zoroaster, but also the Darkhold, the Necromnion, and other mystic scrolls and books were imperfect copies of the ancient writings etched on the walls of Rayleigh, reportedly produced by ancient beings. Alright, so right there, they're showing us that Atlantis and Mercury worked together to author knowledge and spells and information that religious and governments and Jews then use to enslave others, because the only power they have is stealing from indigenous individuals. Alright, so we're creating these things to teach you how to connect with yourself, but they steal our creations so that they can build structures that teach you how to connect with them and separate from yourself. So then that's where we get the Zoroastrian battle between good and evil, or truth and lies. Ahura Mazda's been at this for a while. Metatron's been at this for a while. The Secret Teachings of Zoroaster, an arcane volume. Cool. Sorcerer Supreme. Zoroaster served as a Sorcerer Supreme from 1800 BC, replacing Hermes Trismegistus. Same space. Same space. Until 1300 BC, when Semiramis succeeded him. Cool. So the attributes of Zoroaster. Powers, mystic arts. Zoroaster practiced magic at the level of a sorcerer supreme. Right. Setting up astrology is literally spell casting. Longevity. Zoroaster apparently used magic to greatly extend his lifespan. He was old and gray during the Hyborian Age, circa 10,000 BC, and was alive until at least 1300 BC. Cool. Weaknesses. Insanity. Zoroaster had his mind broken by the serpent's crown, but presumably recovered. Good for him. Bibliomania. Zoroaster displayed an obsession with his vast collection of books. If his books were in danger of being destroyed, he would become distracted and attempt to save them. He placed a high level of importance in them, to the point where he called them his children. They are his children. Your art, everything you create, is your own child of God, because that's you doing on a smaller level what your spirit did to create you. So your space created this structure, created your body, so that you can experience yourself as a child of your God. And then every time you make art, that's like you're a child of God, and now you can have many children. So all those books are as many children. Paraphernalia, equipment, the Eye of Agamotto. As Sorcerer Supreme, Zoroaster possessed the Eye of Agamotto. Time. Transportation, flying carpet. DMT. Flying carpet is DMT. Alright, so when Aladdin is taking Jasmine on that flying carpet ride, best believe it's a straight up, alright? And then their Merkabas are flying throughout the universe, throughout all these universes. They're looking at the whole universe, all these universes, many universes, through space and time. Alright. Notes. The Iranistani Zoroaster was confirmed to be the Persian prophet Zoroaster in his early guise by David Sexton. Cool. Writer of Marvel Tarot, #1, who originally thought of him as connected to the Eternals and the Deviants. Alright. So, this is Zoroaster in Earth 616. Again, Marvel is created by colonizers who stole all the texts and wisdom from indigenous individuals that they could, based on how they, again, just colonized and invaded Mesoamerica and Egypt, so that they can make money selling you their imagination of how everything that they've stolen from people that they can barely understand was created by their idea of God. And now they're going to use Jesus to justify cannibalism and build this whole matrix that now they're selling these heroes as upholding. So it's all predictive programming. Okay? Much love to you. I'll see you later. Peace out. Yeah.